Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. There will be no reduction of the tax rates introduced in the recent budget. This has been made clear by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair. He was speaking after 2 days of meetings with private sector representatives regarding their concerns about the budgetary measures. Mr. Sinclair said he was able to offer clarity to the private sector about how the various measures will be implemented, but there will be no changes to the taxes announced.
Not necessarily changes. The rates will remain basically the same unless something radical happens, unless somebody can give us a credible alternative to how we will get that cash in the short term to finance government operations. I am at a loss, but I'm open to suggestions as to how do we not do it, so that the rates will remain.
The minister also reminded why the tax increases have become necessary.
To stem the decline in the reserves, to ensure that to give us the time to be able to build those back. We know we have a number of very heavy debt payments which start from this month to May, and therefore we have to ensure that if the inflow is not as consistent or as high as we want it to be, then the outflow has to be contained. And that's really the major objective, because we want to ensure that we keep the Barbados dollar stable and not under question. Secondly, we have to finance the operations of government.
However, Minister Sinclair added that a proposal will be taken to Cabinet that is intended to help cushion the impact on the most vulnerable.
The NSRL will be exempted from the basic basket of VAT items that we currently have under the VAT Act. The staff will prepare the requisite cabinet paper to give effect to that. So those basic items, there are probably about 300 of them now that are in there, basic food items and stuff that people use, and other items, because it goes beyond food items, will not attract the NSRL. So in the supermarkets and in the regular shops, ordinary Barbadians should not be affected by that, but of course that still has to be approved by the cabinet, but I don't think anybody would object to that particular proposal.
One of the major issues manufacturers had with the recently announced budgetary proposals has been resolved. That's according to past president of the Barbados Manufacturers Association, Richard Cozier. The former BMA head was speaking on behalf of the organization after he and other representatives of the industry met with Finance Minister Chris Sinclair this morning at government headquarters. He said there was uncertainty about how the National Social Responsibility Levy would be applied on locally manufactured products. According to him, the Finance Minister provided some clarity on the issue.
Manufacturing had a concern that the levying of the 10% would be on their selling price, whereas on the imported product would be on the cost price or the imported price. So the clarity that the minister gave yesterday, that no, that would be on your cost of production, was certainly something that manufacturers would be looking for, and would have been part of what we would have presented today. But that decision was made yesterday and reinforced today. So that set the tone for the meeting, you might say.
Mr. Cozier said they are awaiting answers on some of the other issues raised with the minister.
There are other little issues around how the FX Commission works and stuff like that. The minister wasn't able to give answers to all the queries on that. Those he did, we took on board, and those that he couldn't, he thought to say, well, I'll get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. I have to speak to this agency or that agency on it.
In the face of growing tension, prison officers are tonight being told that they can take the ministry to court, but they are warned not to disrespect management at that institution. Word of this from the minister responsible for those officers, Adriel Brathwaite, in response to serious concerns raised by the prison officers. Last Thursday at the National Union of Public Workers, legal representative for members of the Barbados Prison Officers Association, attorney Gregory Nichols, said prison officers have reached their boiling point. Speaking to the media today, Minister Brathwaite indicated that officers have been approaching this situation incorrectly, and he has no problem taking up the matter in court.
I sat with the prison officers. I said to them, please send me a list of your concerns. So they sent me a list of their concerns one day with a writ the following day, right? So I said, but what foolishness is this and stuff? You don't give us a chance to actually try to address your issues and stuff. So I've taken a position. That's what the court is there for. If they want to take us to court, they're free to take us to court. That is their right. I don't have a problem with it one way or the other.
Among the issues raised by prison officers are promotions and appointments. It is against the laws of Barbados for prison officers to take industrial action. He says the problems raised are broader than the prison service and officers are well within their rights to be disgruntled. However, he is calling for respect to prevail on both sides.
We cannot go back to the dark days of Glenderry and stuff, and I will do all within my power as minister to ensure that that does not happen and stuff. It has to be a two-way street. It has to be respect on both sides of the coin. I've said to the superintendent and to the management, ensure that when I go to bat for you, that I'm on good ground. Ensure that in fact, that if there's cry of victimization, that is untrue. Ensure that you dot your I's and cross your T's.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
We start with a yes. But when life takes unexpected turns, you can still say yes to more. The Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard credit card gives you points with every purchase that you can use to travel to anywhere. Plus, with just 20,000 Scotia points, you can say yes to destinations. With Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard credit card, it's easier to say yes to everything. Apply today.
Starting June 25th on 100.7 QFM.
If you had to be in a position to vote yes or no.
Issues of the day.
You can't live in a society where you don't feel like you're part of the society.
Matters that concern you.
So we stop locking up people for having a split.
The conversations that are buzzing everywhere.
You need to bridge that disconnect between the have and the have not.
Tune in to Walter Point 2, bringing clarity to national issues. Sundays 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. on 100.7 QFM with live viewing on Cbc TV 8.
Are you positive? You are negative. HIV free.
Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested and see.
Are you positive? You are negative. Are you okay? Are you positive? You are negative. Get tested today.
Live Up, the Caribbean Media Alliance, in association with Scotiabank, PANCAP, and local ministries and departments of health, are for the 10th anniversary of Regional Testing Day, providing free HIV testing and counselling. Visit us online at iliveup.info for a schedule and full list of testing sites. Shouldn't you know your status? Live up for those you love, protect, and respect. Come on, get tested.
Are you positive? You are negative. Live up today.
The Education Minister is encouraging leaders in that sector to make use of the talented individuals who work in their institutions. Ronald Jones says that type of leadership is more important now than it was in the past. He was addressing the Association of Caribbean Tertiary Institutions Leadership Retreat at Courtyard by the Marriott.
Your leadership must be transformational. Include people at the center. As I give them the head, give the opportunity to rise and rise to the top. Give them that sense of purpose. Let them understand that the institution is for all of us, by all of us. And utilize it to the best effect. Because in the end, we do not serve ourselves. We serve those we educate. We serve those we teach. And if we're going to do that effectively, we must become selfless, but sensible.
Regarding the rising cost of education across the region, Mr. Jones says ministers want to do even more for students, but a lack of finances dictates otherwise.
You protect salaries first, protect infrastructure, but you have some debts from service providers or people who provide goods to the university. Same thing in the public service of Barbados or any other public service. First, you have to ensure that salaries and wages are met. Of course, debt first, unless you want to default. Debt, salaries and wages, and anything else comes after. It is the reality of governing now.
The American University of Barbados is joining the fight against chronic non-communicable diseases. Head of Research Dr. Angela Carrington-Dial says the school acknowledges the importance of research in helping to deal with chronic diseases which are wreaking havoc among Barbadians of all ages. She was speaking at the launch of the Schools Against Non-Communicable Charity Fun Walk and Health Fair, which is being done in collaboration with the AUB.
We are currently conducting collaborative research into the mechanisms that may be impaired in these conditions and some that may be exploited to correct them. Some of the research target the alleviation of symptoms, while others are aimed at reducing the associated complications. Since many of these conditions occur or become symptomatic very far into the disease, it is good to see young people willing to take charge of their lives with respect to these conditions and also to inform their peers.
Ms. Carrington-Dial says the AUB and its parent university recognize the need to keep those who take care of people with CNDCs informed and educated.
To afford a wider dissemination of information gathered, AUB, in association with ERAS, has been pleased to launch its international peer-reviewed journal called ERAS Journal of Medical Research, 25% of whose articles actually specifically deal with chronic non-communicable diseases. In the near future, AUB should be able to offer even greater assistance with its proposed clinic.
The Student Council of the Barbados Seventh-day Adventist Secondary School is on a mission to form closer ties with the business community. Earlier today, that group launched its project entitled Our Business is Community School Friendly. Student advisor Kevin Murrell says the project will highlight students' positive behavior and also allow them to gain an insight into the world of work.
We hope that we can get businesses to sponsor and support students who do positive things, award them for their excellence in various areas. We tend to believe that if we big up positive action among the student body, that it will encourage other students to seek to do positive things so that they too can be applauded. Very often we know and understand that a lot of children are just looking for attention based on the number of things they do. A number of them are bored because of the limited amount of activity that is happening within the school environment, to really empower and encourage them to do positive things.
Many of the students are excited about the project.
We were realizing, as I said inside of my opening remarks, that a lot of people are saying that children in Barbados are behaving badly and this and what's not. And we decided that one way that we can help to, I would say, fix it is that we can try to get the community more involved with the school.
I am very proud to be a part of this student council for this project this morning. I think that it is a very good initiative to implement. I think that it is very important that we are striving not only to make our school better, but to make our community better, because a better community would mean that the schools will be better, the businesses will be better, the people who live in the communities will be better, and I am just so honored to be a part of such a special project.
The neonatal intensive care unit at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is seeing fewer babies, and this is due to in part to a declining birth rate. Consultant in the Department of Pediatrics, Dr. Clyde Cave, says the maximum capacity for the unit is about 20 to 25. But despite resources being spread around to fewer babies, Dr. Cave suggests even more funds are needed. He says the hospital is recording success in treating premature babies.
Before, at a certain level of prematurity, those babies weren't expected to survive. Now with assistance, monitoring, interventions, they can. So I think the difference is how premature a baby we can assist to survive.
Dr. Cave admits that a lack of human resources has always been a challenge. In his department, he would like to see nurses evolve from being basic general nurses
to pediatric specialty trained nurses, and beyond specialty trained nurses there are nurse trainers who would be involved in keeping skills current and up to date. Those categories of nurses throughout the hospital are very few and far between, and we don't have any in our department in that specialty level. The other aspect obviously would be psychology support services and bereavement counseling. Again, pediatric specific ones, there is room for more, but we utilize the general ones available in the hospital.
The Department of Surgery at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is now in possession of equipment that's expected to change the lives of some Barbadians in a positive way. Word of this comes as the Rotary Club of Barbados West presented several pieces of surgical equipment valued at 20,000 Barbados dollars. President of the club, Kevin Watson, renewed its commitment to the hospital, noting that as funds continue to be a challenge for the hospital, charitable entities are important to its survival.
They're expected to give an ever-increasing level of service, both in terms of the sophistication and the time, and they're required to do that with less in terms of resources due to economic situations and other constraints. So it is for us in the service community to provide whatever assistance they have, as the QH is our lifeline for all of us in Barbados, and there's no organization in Barbados or other establishment that can provide anything like the level of care that they can.
Head of surgery at the QEH, Dr. John Gill, says the department continues to be faced with cases of brain tumors, brain hemorrhaging, and brain trauma. He says the donation will be extremely beneficial.
Supplies like this can actually change the life of a child and in some cases of an adult. It can mean the difference between life and death, or it can actually change, and I should say, it can change the quality of life from being someone who requires attention and who has failed to live up to their full potential to someone who can function normally and reach whatever the highest rung of the ladder is.
Ladies, get ready to dance for some big bucks. One of the newest additions to the Crop Over calendar is the inaugural Walk Up Bashment Soca Queen competition. This Saturday, the Ballpark Entertainment Center will come alive with what is expected to be Bajan walking up at its best, or worst, depending on how you look at it. One of the organizers, Terry Bino, says the first ever Bashment Queen will walk away with $1,500.
It's a big competition for the females. It's $1,500 at stake. But I always feel in my mind that you cannot have a Bashment Soca competition unless you have a walk-up competition. So that's why this concept come about. The first ever walk-up Bashment Soca Queen competition, $1,500 at stake. The winner takes all.
The organizers promise a fantastic event.
I'm looking for this night will be a very big night. About, approximately 5,000 people. Because this is the thing for the young people. And Bashment right now is the thing. Right now that's working in Barbados. Everyone is into Bashment. We also have the reigning king performing, which is Stiffy. We also have the Hyper Dog. He got a big tune.
Well, if you're thinking about TikToking your way to that $1,500, all you have to do to enter the competition is turn up.
We're going to have DJs playing the music first. Then we can go into the big competition with all the girls. So all the girls, you don't have to vote for no one. You can enter the competition. You are free to enter. Nobody ain't go vote for nobody and somehow we can get into the finals. There's nothing like that. From the time you get there and you want to enter the competition, you just enter the competition. So you have the competition, and then we have the artists performing after the competition.
How is it being judged?
It's being judged by the crowd. The crowd is the judges. They're not nobody voting for nobody, or we got the judges, they're judging nobody. Because we always believe the best people to judge people is the crowd, not judges.
Mr. Bino isn't worried about any backlash about the competition.
They always believe that walk up is our culture. So there's nothing wrong with walking up, because I see a lot of videos showing on TV with people walking up, and this is crop over. So if it's crop over and you can't walk up, if you can't walk up at all, it's no crop over.
That should be interesting. Still to come, some Trinidadians upset in the aftermath of Brett.
Diamond Dazzler, it's time to play. Diamond Dazzler, the new instant $250,000 scratch game from the Barbados Lottery. Available at select lottery outlets.
Whether you want to get going in a new car, to relax at home while you pay bills on your mobile banking app, to get the best rewards with your credit card, or to get a sure start on your little one's future. Whether you want a quick response on your loan, or just a range of services that keep your business running smoothly, you want banking that fits your life. CIBC First Caribbean. Banking that fits your life.
Hassle-free credit? Instant card issuance? Chip card security? No late or over-limit fees? Sign me up!
That's right! Enjoy these benefits and more with the new and improved Cape Shepherd Visa credit card. Shop in confidence with chip card technology and sign up to receive real-time usage alerts with our free SMS and email transaction alert service. All while enjoying competitive interest rates. Join the Cape Shepherd Visa cardholder family today by applying online at capeshepherd.com and let us take care of your everyday needs.
St. Lucia's murder toll for 2017 has risen to 28 following the death of a Grosile man. His body was discovered in a drain. The body bore marks of violence. There's expected to be a public announcement later this week by Guyana's Minister of State Joseph Harmon on President David Granger's decision to launch a commission of inquiry into the alleged plot to assassinate him.
News of the president's order was made known this week, and when contacted by Nightly News, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan directed all questions posed by Nightly News to the president and the Minister of State. But at this point, the terms of reference for the COI and the identity of commissioners have not been released. What we are certain of is that the man who said he was approached by a well-connected businessman to take out the president would have to appear before the COI. Well-placed sources have indicated, too, that a number of high-ranking policemen would have to appear before the COI. A few of those policemen are said to be business associates of the man they claim cannot be found. The man who was allegedly approached to take out the president had told Nightly News in a recent interview that the investigation is at a standstill because of the businessman's connections within the police force.
2 days after severe bad weather, residents of Oropoon Gardens in Trinidad are upset. However, not with Tropical Storm Brett.
Everybody might feel this happen because of the storm, but it's a regular thing. 5 minutes rain and in Oropoon flood.
So bad was the flooding that it stalled regional corporation access and delayed relief efforts for the hundreds who were desperately trying to return to normalcy.
So I've spent a lot of money here to tile my home, to build my cupboards, and now everything is just underwater, and now I have to pull money out of my pocket to repay all this for myself.
The water also brought with it snakes, fish, and
caiman coming in my place.
Now it's difficult to tell where the road ends and the drain begins, which speaks a lot about the maintenance of these drains, and that's one issue. But what's also frustrating residents is that they say there is a fail-safe method to prevent something like this from happening, and that did not work.
To have a big pump in the back that pump the water out of our Oropoon Gardens into the river. For the longest while it's not working.
Even the chairman of the regional corporation said that he heard about the issues with the pump.
I was told outside that it hasn't worked for a while.
And for the rent-paying population, this was too much.
We need at least, a higher wall and a roof in order to block the water out, right? Because, I mean, this is every time rain falls, it floods.
Come and help and put things in place for people in our pool.
Now, the HDC admitted that the pump was not utilized, but said it's because the contractor in charge of turning it on did not. The HDC says it also could not reach that contractor until later today. The HDC did say that the drainage will be reassessed and it has begun cleanup exercises.
A peek into the world of sports is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.